Well, hi folks, 1st of March now, so time to get my first seed sowing done. So I'm going to plant some leeks, some jumbo banana shallots and some spring onions, and also I'm going to try some more giant onions this year without growing them under lights or any heat or anything, so we'll just see how well they grow from a late sowing. So I'm just going to prepare my seed sowing mix first, which is just going to be 2 parts bog standard multi-purpose compost. This actually is quite nice and fine actually. So 2 parts of that. I've got enough room in here. To 1 part of vermiculite, and what the vermiculite does, it just adds drainage to it, and it also aids in moisture retention because this stuff does actually retain moisture. I think I've overdone it on this bench, but we'll get it mixed up. So yeah, so like I said, this is very fine compost as well, so it could do with a little bit of drainage in it, which is what the vermiculite will do. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to try some more giant onions this year. Not going to give them any special treatment whatsoever, just going to grow them like any other onion, so they're not going to get any heat, any lights, and we'll see how big we can get them that way. So anyone will be able to try it that way without any special equipment. So I think that's reasonably well mixed in. So what I'm growing in, as usual, are these little 40-cell module trays for the shallots and everything else. We'll just fill one of those up with this stuff. I find that these 40 cells have got enough root ball for a clump of shallots or onions to get them going and grow well enough. Just give that a bit of a tamp down, put it in it's all organised, put it in a tray. As you can see, they're actually in little 10 sections as well, so you do need to do smaller lots, you can. I'll just give those a slight little press down just to compact the soil just a touch. And then again, the shallots of choice this year are Elista. I'm also giving the Zebrun a go as well. I used to grow Zebrun, used to get fantastic results, and then a couple of years ago I think nearly everybody got absolutely awful results with them, so I gave up. But I'm going to try that. I'm just going to try a few of those this year just to see if they've perked up a bit. So with the shallots, because they get so big, what I like to do is to grow them in like clumps of 3 or 4 and plant them out in 3 or 4, so you get a bunch of them, which does make them a little bit smaller, but they're still enormous. So like I said, that's how I'm going to grow them. Just going to try and carefully put about roughly 3 or 4 seeds into each module. Doesn't matter if you get a few more or a few less. If you get a few less, you're just going to be planting single ones out as normal, but I found this a good way to go because they were just getting ridiculously big, and you don't really want shallots to be that big. They were getting, some of them were nearly ½ a pound, so I found that doing it this way, you get a bigger yield for the same area, but you just get slightly smaller shallots. So if you think I'm doing 40 here with about three seeds in at least, that's 120 shallots, which is quite a good return. And they're only planted 6 inches apart, so you can get a heck of a crop from a relatively small area. Oh, right, so that's nearly those done. These are not going to be grown under any lights or anything like that, no heat. I'll just germinate them indoors, and as soon as they start to germinate, I'll bring them into here, and they should look after themselves, because they are hardy, but they do need a little bit of heat to start to germinate. I'll just riddle a bit of compost over the top of this. Doesn't need to be too much. just enough to cover them. I'm just giving them a little bit of a watering with my little bottle sprayer, which is really handy. I actually got this from Temu. I bought loads of stuff from Temu, and I'll do a review of it all because there's some amazing stuff and it's absolutely dirt cheap. I think these are about 30 pence each. I know you can make your own, but this one seems to have a really good spray on it. And it just fits on any bottle. So like I said, that's what I'm going to be doing. That's the shallots. I'll do another 3 lots of those later on. They'll just go, like I said, indoors somewhere in a porch with a propagator lid on. And then as soon as they germinate, they'll be going straight into here. So, I'll just show you what I do with my leeks now. So I'm growing my leeks in the 5 litre ice cream tubs. They seem to do it really well. I did them in it last year and they were absolutely fine. I'm growing 2 different varieties of leek this year. They're the same ones as last year. One's an early one and one's one that'll stand well over winter. Zermatt and... oh, I can't remember what they're called. What are they called? I've got them here somewhere. Zermatt and Neptune. So again, just going to broadcast a few of these. Get these right. Go for Zermatt first. Zermatt were the early ones. They grew quite quickly. So I could take those about September time, and then the other variety stood well over winter. So I want to try and broadcast these as thinly as possible so I don't have to mess about thinning them out. I'll probably end up growing about 50 in this. So 50 of each variety. I always sow them way too thickly. They really want to be about 1 centimetre apart, but there we go. Couldn't be easier. Like I said, I find these ice cream cubs are ideal. They're an ideal size, and because of the depth of the pot, they've got plenty of room for the roots to grow, as opposed to a seed tray that are a bit shallow, really. So again, just going to lightly cover this up with a bit of Ridland. A bit of old watering in. I mean, I could, in theory, germinate everything in this polytunnel, but because it's that cold at the moment still, it'll take weeks and weeks. Where if I do it in the house or in the porch, they should come up within a couple of weeks maximum, and then it can go straight in here, get a bit of a head start. So there was Zermatt, I think. Let me see, let me put the right one on, not that it really matters. Zermatt. So another thing I'm growing that's a little bit different this year, I have to find a seed tray. I'm going to try some red spring onions. Nothing too exciting, I know, but I've not grown this variety before. Again, with the spring onions, I grow those in big bunches in little half trays like this, so 20 modules. And I'm growing the old favourite of white Lisbon, really reliable old-fashioned variety. So let's have a look for these. Where have we got them? Red onion, North Holland blood red mate, 1200 seeds for £1. Now that's cheap, isn't it? So what I like to do with the spring onions is plant about a clump of about 6 to 8 out, or anything, it doesn't matter if you put 10 in really, and I plant the whole clump out, and then we'll get a big bunch of onions growing in every position, as opposed to just planting one out at a time. And then you can just pull the whole clump up, and there you've got a bunch of spring onions to go at. So that's those. And like I said, I'm just going to be growing the white Lisbon. So I've just planted probably about 80 spring onions there. So I can't find my spring onions. Where'd they go? Oh, here they are. No, that's not them. What's done with those? Right, found them. I didn't fetch them out with me. So exactly the same with these, the white Lisbon. Good old pinch, anything from 6 to 10 in each little module. So with what I've sown here, this just 20 little modules. There could be anything from around about 150 spring onions. So again, you're getting a good bit of production for your area. And again, just give it a little bit of a covering up. Bit of a watering in. Make sure I know which is which. I find sowing spring onions directly outside, I've never had any success. But growing them in modules like this, they just seem to fly along. So I don't know why that would be, but that's the case. So finally, as I said, I'm going to try and grow some more giant onions again this year. Peter Glazebutt, he of the ex-world record holder strain. The same variety that I grew one to about 11.5 pounds with a few years ago, and actually grew one to £7 this year, well last year, without even sowing it early. So we'll give it a go anyway. I've got a few seeds left. I don't know how many seeds I've got left, to be honest. But like I said, this year I'm going to try it without giving them any light, any artificial light, any heating or anything like that, and I've sown them as late as this. So like with everything else, they'll just be germinated indoors and then go into here regardless of the weather. You don't get a great deal of seeds for your money, but that's because of the biggest variety there is. So I'm just going to put one in each if I can, if I've got enough. But really interesting to see how big these grow. I've never grown them as late as this, or without any artificial lighting or heating. I'll probably only grow 3 or 4 in a pot, in pots in the polytunnel. And we'll see how big we can get them. I'll be amazed if you could get them to £5 like this. I was amazed to get them to £5 last year, and that was giving them a little bit of a head start. I've got a few seeds left, so I'll put 2 in some. So that's the giant onions. Get those in. Again, just a light cover. Right, so that's really about it. I've got some more, obviously I've got 2 more trays of shallots to do and another tray of leeks to do. But as far as that's concerned, that's the first seed sowing of 2024, folks. So we're actually finally underway, thankfully. Anyway, that's about it, folks. See you later.